Hello, this is Noah Cockett and the Mandolin Show. Today I've got a special guest, Angus from...
VivaDankVegas.
I could never say that. Today we're going to be reviewing or talking about the album In the Court of the Crimson King by King Crimson. And it is brill. So we're going to do a sort of song by song, step by step sort of thing, with our feedback about each individual song. I think we should probably bear in mind that albums were made to be story based in the 70s, 70s, 60s, that sort of time, old time, long ago. And they were made to be fairly story based in a mildly fancy manner. So with that in mind, let's get on with it. So the first track is called Schizoid Man, or the 21st Century Schizoid Man. Now, Angus has some feedback.
Thank you for my crib sheet here. I agreed that the piece feels quite relaxed after the start. And when I say relaxed, I mean sort of it's steady. It keeps going. It doesn't feel like it's sort of too heavy. It's just sort of
Yeah, it's pretty.
We're getting there.
Yeah, deep.
Just deep beats.
Yeah.
But no, it's sort of it feels like it's a really strong track, and it's clearly a defining track of the album.
Yeah.
And artists like Kanye West have used this track in songs like Power. And so it's probably the one that if you do go away and listen to this album, you will
recognize it. You'll definitely recognise this track. It is iconic, and the first chord sequence is literally amazing. Awesome beginning. And the sequence, you get a 6-minute guitar solo. When do you get that now? You just get... No, you never get a 6-minute guitar solo. It is legendary.
The only thing I can complain about is the fact that the album as a whole has very few tracks like this, which is, a disappointment, really, because it comes across as very strong, very powerful, and then the rest, while being great and lovely to listen to, it's just too mellow in comparison, I think. And while the album as a whole is easy to listen to, it is great. I would say that I would have liked more of a progression rather than just going from something as heavy as, well, not heavy, but something as
initially powerful
as this to things that then are just sort of like mellow dinner music.
So the next track is called I Talk to the Wind, and we're going to talk story now. This is the second track. It's sort of mellowing out from the initial beginning of the story. Not that it's connected. I don't know. It sort of feels a bit like I Talk to the Moon. It's maybe the schizoid man talking to himself. I don't know. You can interpret it certainly that way. I find it an interesting track with a lovely chorus. And now I will hand over the crib sheet to Angus.
Thank you. This is now not a crib sheet, it's a crib book, just for the record. So what I personally thought was that, yeah, it's definitely gentle. It does mellow out the album as a whole. And there are some great songs on here, absolutely fantastic. And I can't pick them out by name because from after 21st Century Schizoid Man, I'm really good at talking, you sort of realise that then everything's pretty much the same sort of thing, so they don't really feel as different as each other. However, it is very nice, very easy to listen to, and I think that's why it would be great to try and get it on record, because really when you're listening to records, you sit down, you spend the time listening to and focusing on the music.
It's more of an experience, isn't it? It's really powerful.
So what you can do is sit down with a glass of whatever, be it water, Coke or beer, and just sit down and chat with a mate over this rather fantastic album.
I certainly feel that the tracks on their own are amazing. Just a bit more blending, I mean, would have been interesting. I mean, I don't think that the album was by any means sort of bad, but I think it may have been useful to have more sort of blending of the tracks and more interesting, maybe musical bringing together of themes, and that may have been really interesting.
But still, you'll find that regardless of the fact that maybe the tracks could have been linked together better, the actual effort and thought that went into the music, you can tell that it's going to be far higher quality than any of your Miley Cyrus's bangers or anything like that.
Yeah, it's incredible. So, back to the next one. And the next one is called Epitaph. That is track 3. It's got some fantastic vocals and fantastic lyrics. And the chorus is, brilliant. Just speaks for itself, really. Epitaph is generally the chorus. It's pretty good. I really like this track. It's an interesting track. It's one of the ones that I remember from my dad's days of listening to this album in the car. Angus now has more notes.
Again, the mood at the very beginning of the piece seems to vary. It sort of resembles what
21st century schizoid man.
Thank you. It resembles what that piece had in the opening, and then suddenly mellows down, which again resembles most things on the album. And I suppose that's better for the mood progression.
Yeah.
However, the initial change from Schizoid Man over to things like Epitaph, it's a bit drastic. However, as songs on their own, they are fantastic, and Epitaph was lovely. And it's sort of, it's nice to have something that was slightly different. But again, from this point on, it does feel as if then what happens is it starts off slightly harsher and then suddenly cools down.
Yeah, I think probably that was intended. I don't think that was by any means an accident.
It sort of links the songs together.
I feel that the mellowing out is sort of a wave into all the different music, to keep the strong, vibrant, powerful music sort of in check, maybe. The next one is Moonchild. Now, this is one that it's crazy. I'm going to talk about this for a long time. Epitaph was good. Moonchild is crazy. You have 2 minutes of music, of singing and vocals. And then you get about 9 minutes of tinkle, 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 tinkle. Like, just incidental music that's sort of loungy. And it is wonderful. I mean, it's no tune, it's all percussion. It's fab the way they do it. And they carry that on for 9 minutes. And just when you think that it's getting boring, you get to the build-up. And it builds up to the next song. And, that is powerful and wonderful.
Thank you very much. I did think that Moonchild did stand out of the other tracks. I think this is one that stood out, definitely. Not just because of its length, it's about 12 minutes long. But it's mainly because it is just very, very nice and calm.
Yeah.
And while, again, I've already said all the tracks are relatively calm, this one in particular, it feels so different.
Yeah.
There's a use of some very strange percussion instruments. For example, the cymbals. While you do normally hear cymbals in music, it's just the use of them that seems very.
They sound different to how you usually use cymbals.
So I mean, it's less trying to accompany things as it is just the main piece of percussion at any one time. As well as accompanied by the drum that I gather from my friend Ohan over here, that essentially you can tell through the albums that the drum starts to age, which is very interesting. Is the sort of thing to have going through your music. It's it makes it easy to pin down exactly where their music came from, which allows you to see their progression as a group.
I certainly feel that listening to the LPs that my dad has of this band, you can certainly hear that the drum differs over the times, and I know from a little bit of research that they kept their original drum from this album, and they use it, and it changes, and it fits every album. It's such a good sound, it's brilliant.
The only other comment I'd have to make is that during the long tinkly tinkly section, it sounds very calm, very very weather music like. And it's sort of you can see like a cute weather girl sort of in the background going, oh yes, and today we're going to have some light showers, accompanied with some large cumulonimbus clouds that will rain down on your weekend. We hope that that's all right, and that we will have temperatures reaching around 30 degrees on the Friday.
30 degrees.
35 degrees.
You're
Fahrenheit.
teasing me. You're teasing me.
No more teasing, guys.
So we're going to carry on to the, I think, last song. Yes, the last track is called "In the Court of the Crimson King." Sorry for itching my nose there. It's staggeringly iconic. The chord sequences are ridiculous. I would have thought anyone would be able to pick this out. You will have heard it somewhere, even if it's in a music shop or something. You will have just heard this going on somewhere. And when the music finishes, you have an amazing flute solo. I think it's flute. It's sort of panpipey, woody, that sort of sound. And I think they go for a bit of a tritone feel. The Devil's Chord. But that feels so nice at the end of that album, and then it progresses to the chords from the beginning again, and you get a final chorus which is incredibly powerful.
Thank you for the book. What I'd happily say is that, again, yes, it does build up from the previous tracks. Again, the common theme of starting heavily is very strongly here, and it is a fantastic track. It's very nice.
Yeah,
I approve.
I think so.
It sort of chills out the album.
Yeah.
And then picks it back up again.
Yeah.
It does everything that you'd want, really, out of a final track on an album.
Brings it to a conclusion.
Yeah. Which I think is very positive.
Yeah. Yep. I should like to note that the crib sheet is only because we took this extremely seriously, and we thought that this was important.
Yes, we have not stolen these ideas from Robin Thicke, Miley Cyrus, or any other of these generic pop stars, because you will find that actually, if you want to be able to review anything like this, you have to actually think outside the box. You have to actually think for yourself, actually do something that the mainstream people don't tell you to do. And that is how you will enjoy life and actually discover things for yourselves.
And that is the end of our show today. That was Angus, and this is Noah. Bye.